What up, YouTube? It's your boy King Cobra back at it with another video response. Okay, is it Sydney Watson? Is it Isaac Butterfield? Which one is it? We're doing Isaac Butterfield. The American Steve Irwin must be stopped. Oh, you don't even know. Ugh. What up, fellow YouTubers? It's your favorite goth bad boy, King Cobra JFS. We're live on the channel. Real quick.
Woo! Check this guy out! Oh, wow. Yeah?
G'day, you good motherfuckers, the Buttsman here, and before we start, a massive announcement. From right now, a huge flash sale on my merch store. This is absolutely incredible stuff. If you're in Australia, well, I guess only people in Australia give a shit about this. Anyway, if you're in Australia, State of Origin is about to take place this week, and if you are a Queensland supporter or a New South Wales supporter, you need this. A Fuck Queensland or Fuck New South Wales t-shirt. These are going out the door. They're going to sell fast. They're limited edition stock, never to be restocked in the old merch store. Ladies and gentlemen, get your hands on them right now. The link is down below. We've said fuck vegans. We've said fuck cyclists. And now it's time between New South Wales and Queensland to fuck each other. Now, on with the video. Ladies and gentlemen, I would imagine that most Australians and probably most people in the world can remember exactly where they were when they found out that Australian conservationist and Australian fucking legend and hero and all that type of business, Steve Irwin, had died. I was out on my skateboard doing kickflips and shit.
Yeah. I was sitting at home with my parents watching Tiger Woods golf when I found out Steve Irwin died. But, rest in peace, Steve Irwin. But here's the thing of it. And I'm not making this up. There is this evangelical Christian who's trying to be Steve Irwin. And it's annoying as shit. And we're going to get into it.
And I found out that he had died via a fucking stingray. And basically, I was shattered. I remember riding home just almost in tears. I couldn't believe it. It was absolutely insane.
Well, the way I look at it, mate, he died doing what he loved doing, educating the public on animals. So
it was probably one of the biggest deaths that I had experienced as a young person of someone of that caliber. A great man, a family man, an Australian hero had been lost. A conservationist that had done far more work for animals than fucking Peter has ever done in their entire existence. And it was this admiration for Steve Irwin that made me think, as soon as I saw that some motherfucker in America has fucking stolen his identity, it fucking pissed me off to the core, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to address it right bloody now. Not only does he pretend to be Steve Irwin, but he's a full-on evangelical, born-again, no sex before marriage, don't touch yourself or you'll go to hell fucking now Christian dude.
Yes! That's no bullshit. What? Jesus fucking Christ. Those evangelical Christians that are like masturbation's a sin. Yeah, those motherfuckers. For the love of Christ, dude, stop. Oh, what's this wanker's name?
He's a preacher. He carries on to people all the time.
Of course he's a preacher. God damn it. You don't look like one.
And I needed to find out more about this real-life cock smoker. David Oren is his name.
David Oren, what a fucking wank, dude. Okay, David Oren, first of all,
name, and David does a lot of
You want to be a preacher, fine, be a preacher, but you're not Steve Irwin, okay?
things on his TikTok. He's found some fame recently, and basically what he does is find snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals as well. Gets really excited and takes that Steve Irwin attitude of animals and catching them and showing people to the next level. Now, normally I wouldn't really care, okay, because people often emulate their heroes, but it is his preachy nature, the way he is so fucking painful in his videos on TikTok and Instagram and all that type of shit. That is why I have an issue with him, and I imagine you will too. Not only are his videos outrageous, but they're also overtly sexual. Take this one for example. He films a lady fingering a honey hole.
So what are you gonna do? Why aren't they scared of you? What is that? And with that
A bunch of bees in a tree making honey, basically, and this lady's fingering it.
scary.
This
Okay.
hole in the tree.
I've been disappointed. I read the title. It said honey hole. I thought bum hole, and I've just wasted everybody's time. Fuck me.
Reality is often disappointing.
So what does Dave do? He has a large following, mainly on TikTok, and one of the most popular videos he does is he gets snakes to bite him on the face.
Why? You're stupid for doing that. You know that, right? You don't. If you don't know which snake's poisonous, you're gonna end up doing some stupid shit to your body. This guy is a nut job.
Fucking, that is quality content right there.
That's fucking metal as fuck, dude.
It also sounds like a great way for this 20-something-year-old Christian to get his first STD. Looking forward to it, big dog. Oh, and by the way, when it happens, he makes noises that only a lady getting fucked by 25 black dudes on black.com would ever make. Don't believe me? Listen here.
Take it to the face. Yeah, you're just gonna munch away there, huh?
I mean, that sounds like every porno I've ever watched.
You're a pretty weird guy, huh? Yeah.
I had sex and a condom fell out. What? Let's get the
Yeah?
You don't even know if that snake's
How's that?
poisonous.
How's that taste?
You gotta look for venom glands and shit.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Medusa is his fucking wet dream. He would deep throat every one of those snakes on
Fucking. Let me see.
her fucking head.
Yeah. That is an Eastern diamondback rattlesnake.
This guy.
And it's not even dead! Oh wow, bro, you call that a bite? That doesn't even hurt. This snake is massive. Calm down.
Whoa! Okay, so far you might be thinking, Isaac, why are you making fun of this kid? He looks fucking 16. Okay, he's 22, so everything is above board. And secondly, it's shit like this that made me make this video.
I have a social media following.
Okay, David Oren, you need Satan. This guy claims to have a problem with masturbating because it's a sin, apparently. Steve Irwin, okay?
Things on his TikTok. He's found some fame recently, and basically what he does is find snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals as well. What he does is find snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals as well. Basically what he does is find snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals. Snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals as well. animals as well. Gets
Guy claims to have a problem with masturbating because it's a sin, apparently.
Past 6 months, 7 months, kind of grown up. Praise God! Praise God! Praise God! Praise God!
Yes, praise the inner God.
That is so cool. My ultimate fundamental identity before anything else is the.
Yeah, this is why. Correct me if I'm wrong, but why do you think snakes bite you? Because you're coming into their fucking house and picking them up and fucking with them. Now, could you imagine if someone 4 times the size of you did that to you like you were doing to the snakes? If you don't know what the fuck you're doing with the snakes, leave them the fuck alone. If you see a rattlesnake or a poisonous snake and you need to get rid of it, call animal control.
Fact that I am a servant of Christ. You love the creation.
Good for you, asswipe. Jesus is a cunt.
What about the Creator? Do you love the Creator?
We create our own realities. You ever heard of the Book of Thomas? That's the stuff from the Bible they don't want you to read in the churches. Look that shit up.
He's one of those motherfuckers that turns up at your front door and spreads the word of God.
Ah, for the love of... I gotta grab some water. People like that are annoying as fuck, you two. Show up to your door like, can I talk to you about Jesus? No. Can I talk to you about Satan? And if they say no, then there's your answer to my argument when they ask you about Jesus and shit. You know, it's ridiculous, you two. Nothing against Mormons or evangelicals or whatever the fuck you want to call them. But that's annoying as shit.
Have you heard about Jesus? Yes. I know that's sort of Mormon. But what he does is he works at a pizza shop and then goes to people's houses and fucking preaches.
Hey, how you doing, boss? I have this. Oh, how about you? No, I know.
Okay, first of all, you cannot go preaching your religion at the place you work. That's gotta be against company policy, bud.
No good at all. Why's that? Uh-oh. What's wrong with being old?
Okay, so he's delivered these pizzas to this old couple, and this old dude does the most insufferable thing of all time. Dave asks how he is, and he actually tells him how he is. Listen, if you're one of these people that actually tells people how you feel, fuck you to the moon, all right? Just say good thanks and move on. No one cares how you actually are. People are busy.
Not as much gold in these golden years as I thought. Are you in Christ, brother? Do you know the Lord Jesus? Absolutely. Hey, then every single day you're closer to getting to see him in person, right?
What the fuck?
Person, right?
What the fuck? So the Steve Irwin wannabe is going around preaching Jesus to people with his pizza job. It's like, bruh, stop. He asked this dude, how you doing? And the dude tells him, he says, this old dude, he says, not as good as I thought I would be in these golden years. And what does this dickhead say? Oh, you're closer to me than I am. Fuck you, asshole. There's no way to talk to your elders. Jesus Christ, this guy's a fucking piece of work.
Beatific vision.
Come on, Edgar, get in this house.
Keep on running the race, brother. I appreciate it, right?
Oh, okay. Let me just translate that for everybody at home. The old dude's saying he's not enjoying his golden years, his old years, and Dave says, "Don't worry, mate, you'll be dead soon."
You know what it says in the Bible? You cannot force other people to think like you.
Don't worry about that leaky bladder or blood in your stool, because you're gonna cock it, old man.
Death is inevitable. It's calling you.
Fuck up, Dave.
This pisses me off, man. This is bullshit. Old man says, I'm not doing so hot, but, I'm hanging in there. Instead of saying, well, keep hanging in there and doing your thing, he starts preaching Jesus and shit when he probably doesn't want to hear it. That's another thing, too, is a lot of people don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to fucking hear about my spew on Satan, so, of course, no one also wants to hear your spew on Christianity.
Hey, you snake deep-throating, snake orgy-loving, evangelical Christian.
Apostle Paul talks about how Jesus is an offensive person to the unbeliever, and I understand why. I mean, it's what's more offensive?
What's more offensive than these born-again Christians who kill people, but now they worship Jesus, so they're born-again Christians doing time in prison, so we're supposed to forgive them now. Fuck murder.
But telling someone you're a broken, sinful person and you need Jesus to come into your life.
Murder. Fuck murder.
But telling someone you're a broken.
Fuck murder.
But telling someone you're a broken, sinful person and you need Jesus to come into your life and put you back together.
No, you don't. That's the fucking stereotypical attitude of Christians that I dislike, to be honest.
Thanks, Dave. Now let's see what he thinks about the LGBTQ+I community. Do you support LGBTQ+I? No. I love them enough not to support them.
Well, imagine my
Sure. There you go, gay, trans folk, and queer folk, and lesbian folk. Dave hates you, so he supports you.
Yes. This guy that Isaac Butterfield's talking about is against LGBTQ+. Mental.
What a great guy. They'll probably have a Mardi Gras float just for...
So just on top of being this in-your-face would-be Christian, the dude's also crapping on gays and their pride. Oh, boy. This guy's a piece of work.
for you next year if you just deep-throating snakes. It's going to look great. I love them enough to warn them. Things on his TikTok. He's found some fame recently, and basically what he does is find snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals as well. What he does is find snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals as well. Gets really excited. Snake, he's found some fame recently, and basically what he does is find snakes most of the time, but a lot of other animals as well. Gets really excited and takes that Steve Irwin attitude of animals and catching them and showing people to the next for you next year if you just deep-throating snakes. It's going to look great. I love them enough to warn them.
David Oren is a piece of work. They asked if do you support gays and gay pride? David Oren said that he loves them enough to not support them and loves them enough not to warn them of their sin. Okay, as long as the person that they're with is of age for them and is consensual, like, and vice versa, who cares?
Of their sin. Jesus, Dave.
Come on. Have some respect. What? That's not on.
Who's the one getting fucked in the ass?
Keep in mind that Jesus Christ had sex with a hooker, I do believe, before he never got married, as long as we know.
That's more. Gay dudes or dickheads like you? The answer is you, Dave. You are the one who's having your fart box punished.
We are in Claremont, Florida. This is a New Wave church. This is actually called Row. This is our young adult group. So many people here, so on fire for Christ at such a young age. It's really fantastic.
Fuck yeah, Dave. This sounds like a what?
Now, a lot of people are looking for answers. And it's cool to study other religions, and if you want to have a religion, just don't be a dickhead about it.
Fast.
If you don't know Christ and you want to know him, tonight is your opportunity.
Look at this fuck. Doesn't he just scream that his parents are pressuring him to marry a girl straight out of high school? And he's like, yeah, fuck, I'll do anything just to fuck something.
There's a war going on for each and every single one of your lives. Honestly. Who are you going to tell about Jesus when you meet him?
Fuck it, this is such a fucking pyramid scheme. Replace the word Jesus with Arbon, and you've got every single 22-year-old girl on fucking Instagram that their dads hate.
And of course, they got the guitar.
Oh, I'm facing all my demons and hoping I can find the words to say.
I was using
I have faith in my demons too, man.
Google Analytics and hated it. With a Reebee, I can create any funnel, even across domains, see optimization opportunities for my site in seconds, follow in.
Oh my God, ladies, stop. Just fucking stop. What I love about Dave's preaching is he's not trying to shove this down your throat.
No, not at all.
He does it gently.
What's up? I got exciting news. Did you know that when you become a Christian, God transfers you from the domain of darkness and into the kingdom of his son, Jesus Christ?
Sounds nice.
What the fuck are you smoking, this guy? This David Orwin.
Nice in theory. But Dave, you also sound like a fucking anti-vaxxer. Oh, sign up for this website to learn the truth. Shut up, dickhead. But I think my favorite TikTok of his and preaching, all that shit, was this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I've added my own images to prove my point.
When we speak of God's wrath, we're not speaking of human wrath. We're not speaking of sort of a hot-headed, capricious, oftentimes whimsical.
Book of Thomas.
And unmerited anger. We're speaking instead of a perfectly righteous, perfectly just, demanded anger. Because God loves justice. And he demanded anger. Because God loves justice. Just, demanded anger. Because God loves justice. And he hates sin.
But what I really enjoy about Dave isn't so much his handling of snakes or any of that type of shit. It's his struggles with masturbation.
You heard that correctly. David Orwin struggles with masturbation. I don't struggle with that shit. I solve it, to be honest. With that shit. I don't struggle with that shit. I solve it, to be honest. Hi, I'm Dr. Cobra. Are you struggling with masturbation? Well, might I recommend Chatterbait for your chronic condition? You know, David Orwin's the kind of freak that likes to watch some, like, maybe some kinky Christian lesbian porn or some shit, and then he fucking feels like shit for us. So then he's sitting there going, "Oh, Jesus," you know, all the.
Yes, Dave struggled.
No, there are people who struggle with other addictions like alcohol and substance abuse and shit like that. But this motherfucker struggles with, which is a real thing, but the fact that he's an evangelical Christian born again, blah, 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 religious pronouns.
With masturbation.
I don't know. It's definitely a challenge. And I think to myself, man, I struggle with lust. I struggle with the temptation of pornography and masturbation. So it's not something I completely beat yet.
Ah, so Dave sometimes wanks. And I imagine you do it in a pit of snakes.
Ew.
So when you have followers, the temptations for that, they arise. I have girls who message me from time to time, and the temptation's there. And there is a fear that if the temptations keep coming, what if I, like King David, fall prey to it?
Oh, fuck, man. Are you all right? Girls think you're a good looking...
This is ridiculous. I have a couple of gorgeous adult fangirls that watch my videos. So what's your point? As long as it's consensual and they're old enough for you and you're old enough for her, who gives a fuck, dude? This guy's a fucking next level.
Dude, are you gonna be okay?
A next level moron.
I remember I posted about it recently in a very severe way. I talked about
Stop. They're just hands. You can't control. They're just hands. You can't control them. Hands. You can't control them. Hands. You can't control them. You can't control where they go. You control what they do. God never allows. You're being tempted past your limits, so don't give in. This is... shit. I can't keep a serious face here. This is ridiculous. There are people out there who struggle with alcohol worse than I do, to be honest. And this asshole's... Jesus Christ.
point blank my struggle with masturbation, a little poem or something I'd written about working through it one night.
You wrote a poem about jerking off. Righto, champion, let's take a look. They're just hands. You can control them. You can control what they do. You control where they go. God never allows your being tempted past your limit. So don't.
Shit.
Well, you know what? I've talked way too much shit about Dave in this video. It's time to help him on his path to... glory. So what I have done, just because I care about you, Dave, is I've rewritten that poem to really assist you in life. It's just your dick. You can control it. Wrap those slimy, snake grappling hands around that filthy little Christian foreskin, and by the grace of God, rip the fucking ears off it and never let go. Never let go. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Peace in the least be extinct. Keep it, boys. Toodle au revoir. Bye-bye.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Ray.
Yeah, that Dave, whatever his name is, Owen, fuck him. It's honestly an insult to Steve Forward's memory. I completely agree. What's up, fellow YouTubers? What up, YouTube? It's your favorite goth bad boy, King Cobra JFS, back at you with another video response. Sydney Watson did a brand new, spanking brand new video. So, follow along with me. Yes. Did I turn on chat or did I turn it off? I forget. Anyways, regardless, let's do a video. Could have swore I turned on chat, but if I accidentally turned it off, oh well. And the destruction of child innocence continues. Dude, I feel sorry for today's youth. You know, I thought it was a confusing time when I grew up. Dude, today's kids have it way worse. Let's get into it.
Thanks. I hate it. Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to Mordor.
Yes, Sydney Watson video response. Oh my God, Cobra, we're so shocked.
But before we launch in and do the thing, this video is sponsored by Exter. So we've already talked a lot on this channel about the myriad of ways in which children are being exposed to things that they probably shouldn't be exposed to.
Yeah.
And while I know there's only so many times I can be like, stop this, I still believe that it's important that we keep our ear to the ground and finger on the pulse when it comes to this topic. Because every time I turn around, it feels like there's some new weird thing that kids have to see or be told about or look at. And if these things make me uncomfortable, a fully fledged adult human being, then for tiny humans, I'm guessing that the stage is being set for future unhealthy coping mechanisms. Ain't gonna lie, I'd like for this to stop. In the last little—
Yeah, you and me both. Look, before I get this video response started, I'm all for teaching our kids tolerance of things like being a lesbian or being homosexual or being trans, gay, bisexual, queer, etc. But there's a fine difference between being progressive and being perverted. Like, stop this.
a while, we've talked about radical gender theory, children being presented the opportunity to put fake knitted penises into their underwear, which somehow feels weirder saying it a second time.
Yeah, that is weird. I'm not gonna lie, we already covered that with that Sydney Watson video response.
But in my recent travels of the internet, I have found things that don't make me feel any better about the state of the world. But before we continue and dig up any more orcs, although I don't really know why we would be digging up the orcs, because I feel like if anything, they would be on the other side.
Like, hope you're all having an awesome bitchin' weekend. Sunday night, doing a Sydney Watson video response. I'm gonna grab the yellow lighter that my neighbors gave to me because they had an extra one. They're just like, yeah, you're struggling with the lighter you have. Here's an extra one. I'm like, thanks. You know, I feel sorry for today's kids because when I was a kid, nobody gave a fuck about pronouns, whether or not you were trans. Being a kid in the 90s was so much simpler. And spoiler alert, we're drinking Bud Light Platinum for this because we're going to need it. Holy shit. I'm all for defending trans rights, but when it gets to the point of you can't say breastfeeding without being gender inclusive and offending trans people, I'm like, okay, you can chop your dick off and turn it into a vagina, but you can't handle the word breastfeeding? Wow. Spoiler alert, it's going to be one of those videos. King Cobra tells it like it is. On a side note, how did a society grow up watching South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, The Cleveland Show, Beavis and Butthead, Ren and Stimpy, all these adult-themed cartoons? How did a society of people growing up watching these adult cartoons become so easily offended by everything? It's complete horseshit.
Because they kind of look like feminists. I don't know. I'm trying to make the Mordor reference make sense. Let's hear from our sponsor, Exter. Exter designs what they call smart wallets. They're probably smarter than the old Joe boy at this stage. You know what I'm saying? They come in all sorts of colors and materials. Here I have a premium leather and a space grade aluminum model. And this one I love, largely because it's pretty indestructible. And that suits someone like me, who breaks everything she touches. They're pretty neat as well because the mechanism at the bottom fans out your cards, making them easier to access and use. But my favorite part about all of this is Exter has a tracker that lets you find your wallet when you lose it. It's solar powered, so you can throw it out in the sun for 2 hours and it's got battery life for up to 3 months. You can also call the tracker from your phone using the Chipolo app. I am not even kidding. I am so excited about this.
Now that is some crazy technology. Losing your wallet sucks ass. With this wallet that Miss Sydney Watson's advertising, it has like three months of charge time. That's what's up. So if you lose your wallet, you can always track it with your phone. Because, you know, technology and shit.
Anyway, click the link in the description to check out Exter's range of wallets. They are also running a Father's Day sale with up to 25% off site-wide, so get around it. And then you can get yourselves a wallet tracker that isn't your wife saying, "Did you check your pockets?"
Yes.
In the last couple of days, somehow a series of comics came onto my radar discussing kink and children at Pride. Pride events being the parades we often see in major cities, and kinks.
Okay, so here's the problem.
And children at Pride. Pride events.
Proud to be Ontario's HIV/AIDS hospital. Okay, so we got a bunch of homosexuals and their pride parades, and nothing wrong with that. But when you're exposing children to this kind of crap, it's a little inappropriate. I'm all for teaching children tolerance, but we can do it without just full-on shoving a grown man's ass in their face. Like, I support trans and gay rights 1000%, but we can do that without shoving it in our child's faces. You know, I feel like this is just not appropriate on so many levels. And of course, on the fucking float of proud to be Ontario's HIV/AIDS hospital, you have a bunch of men doing seemingly gay shit on the float. You know, because apparently straight couples can't get it either. The stereotypes, am I right?
Being the parades we often see in major cities, and kinks being any. We often see in major cities, and kinks being any. Being the parades we often see in major cities, and kinks being any. Being the parades we often see in major cities, and kinks being any. Being the parades we often see in major cities, and kinks being any.
Heritage of Pride, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, New York City.
From leather outfits to things I can't say because This is a family-friendly channel. But
Yeah.
for those looking for a more concrete definition,
Look, if you want to teach your kid tolerance, you can find a way to explain it to them that levels with them, you know? I'm sorry, but taking your kid to a gay pride parade, knowing that some of the costumes are going to be outrageous, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Cobra did that a little too well. Oh my God, shoes. Like, okay. Like, I support what Jeffree Star does, provided it's not harming kids. That's all that I ask, okay? You want to be gay, straight, lesbian, trans, bisexual, queer, identify as an attack helicopter, fine. As long as you're not hurting someone else and you're especially not hurting children, who fucking cares? Like, you don't have to take your, okay, you want to call me a bigot, but it's the truth. You don't have to take your kid to a gay parade to help them understand, you know what I'm saying? Well, Cobra, how would you explain it? I'm like, okay, like this. How many kids like ice cream? Well, as long as you're not lactose intolerant, pretty much every kid I know loves ice cream. Okay, so you explain it to them this way. Could you imagine being picked on and bullied for liking ice cream when it just comes natural to you, you know? Like, that's how you explain it to them. Like, would you like being bullied for liking ice cream when your love for ice cream is not hurting anyone, to be honest? Ugh. And if you got your kids saying, I cannot begin to imagine being picked on for liking ice cream, that would suck ass. And I'm like, well, there you go. You kind of metaphorically explained the harassment that gays and homosexuals and trans plus LGBTQ receive. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with kids going to a gay parade, except some of the costumes that the adults are wearing, it's a little provocative. You got a grown-ass man wearing assless chaps, shaking his ass. Like, no, dude, that's a little disturbing. I don't think kids should be exposed to the outrageous, overly sexual costumes of a gay parade. Like, you can teach your kid tolerance without taking them to a parade, to be honest. I've been killing it on the streams lately. Okay. My beer burps taste like Taco Bell. Yummy.
and it can be anything from BDSM to fetishes to group sex. And while I've always understood it to be inherently sexual, apparently there's plenty of people who argue that it's not. So there's that. In one of these comics,
Okay. There's a big difference between being sexually suggestive and just outright sexual. And the whole sexually suggestive thing is different for different people. You know? You could literally go to an art museum and see a statue of an of-age naked woman in an art museum. Some people would view that as pornographic because she is naked, and some people would say, nonsense, that is tasteful nude. Well, this is kind of different. Like, if you want to do your gay parade thing, more power to you, man. Or woman, or however, whatever you identify as. But you gotta think, there might be kids at this parade watching it with their parents. So would it kill you to be a little bit modest? You know? Like this comic that Sydney Watson shows, you know, it's like get all the regular videos out of the way and then do one that's really uncomfortable.
Artist writes, so let me show you how to deal with a child that gets confronted with nudity or kinks our pride.
Now, when I was a kid, the only nudity I got confronted with were the porn sites I looked up on my grandma and granddad's computer / my parents' computer. And even if you cleared the history, eventually they found out. Like when I was a kid, I could specifically remember trying to find pictures of Britney Spears naked on the internet when I was a kid. The majority of it was fake, but there you go. Imagine that dinner conversation with my grandparents. Yeah, my dad's parents are like, so you like Britney Spears, do ya? And I'm like, I was so embarrassed that I got caught. You know, and then my granddad comments, well, she does have some nice boobies. And of course, yeah, I'm embarrassed that I got caught. Perfectly natural for the age I was at when I was doing that crap, but
I guess that's supposed to say at. I don't know. Hey, I can see that guy's butt.
But this is where it gets a little weird. Like this is the comic. You got some kid saying, hey, I can see that guy's butt through his assless chaps. And then, of course, his father or adult figure standing next to him says, me too! Exclamation point. I hope he used sunscreen.
But I hope he used sunscreen.
No, the look on Sydney's face is like, why?
There's not enough nope in the world.
Yeah. You know, Sydney Watson, I know the feeling. Not enough nope in the world? Yeah, that's code for there's not enough beer in the world. 1 second. You can teach your kids to be tolerant of gays and homosexuals and trans, lesbian, etc. without featuring a man wearing assless chaps in a parade. Like, there's a big difference between being progressive and just downright perverted.
Love that there's this character just chilling in the background like, yeah, I'm okay with observing grooming behavior. In response to these images, someone tweeted, I cannot possibly think of a worse lesson to teach a child than...
So, Doomfield Pegalaxy, not sure how you pronounce that, at Slatsism says, I cannot possibly think of a worse lesson to teach a child than to suppress their natural suspicion of a strange adult in close proximity, exposing their naked body to them. Yeah, no shit. Like, holy crap. These people... Jesus Christ, if this were not a gay parade, these fuckers would be put on the sex offender list. Fuck Chimos, dude. I'll drink to that. And no one says to themselves, yeah, it's a little weird that these fucking people are naked or nearly naked and exposing themselves to children, and they're not doing it intentionally. That's the difference. They're hosting a quote-unquote gay pride parade, so their costumes are going to be a little outlandish. Stop it, silly. Okay, stop. That was... no. Now, like, no one sits there and says, yeah, this is a little weird. We got a grown-ass man with his hairy ass hanging out with some assless chaps. That's a little disturbing. Like, if you're an adult, okay, and you're at this parade with your friends supporting the cause, that's different. Like, okay, there are certain parades kids shouldn't go to. I'm sorry, but you can teach your kids to respect gays and homosexual rights and LGBTQ plus rights without just full on, you know. And you can do this in the parade without being fully fucking exposed. Like, it's a little disturbing when you have a grown-ass man with his ass hanging out to the world, you know, and parents don't think to themselves, oh, you know, maybe this isn't the appropriate place for a kid. These are the same goddamn parents who let their kids go to an adult drag show, and it's like, stop. Okay, children should not be going to an adult drag show and performing in those shows, getting exposed to nudity, sexual activity, and drugs of all things. And then you take them to a pride parade, and there's a grown man's naked ass hanging out of a pair of assless chaps, and it's like, no.
And to suppress their natural suspicion of a strange adult in close proximity, exposing their naked body to them.
Yeah, no one says, hey, it's okay if you want to teach children to support gay rights, but this is a little extreme. Having an adult male or adult woman exposing their naked body to a child is kind of inappropriate, to say the least.
And this is more or less where a lot of people stand on the issue, that this is not appropriate. Children, especially young children, should not be exposed to ideas and concepts that are developmentally inappropriate.
It's just common sense. Would you let your kid watch South Park? Go ahead, I'll wait. The answer is, oh my God, South Park is super offensive. I would never let my kid watch that crap. Then what's the difference? Okay? Okay, you have women and men dressed scantily clad, going around in a gay parade, parading their body for the world to see. Which, that's their choice, progressively speaking, that's their choice. But that should be up to the parents to say, you know what? I can teach my kid about gay pride without fully just shoving it in their face like that. Just, no. I feel like exposing to our kids these adult situations, it's not appropriate. If you wouldn't let your kid watch a rated R movie, then why do this? Oh, because you're progressive. You don't want your kids to grow up hating homosexuals. And I totally get it, 1000%. Okay, if you're gay, lesbian, trans, bisexual, queer, who gives a shite? As long as you're not hurting children, who gives a shit? If you're doing what you're doing is consensual, and the people you're with are adults and it's consensual, who cares?
Side note, what creeped me out so much was having to look through so much of this bizarre content from this particular artist. Or eyeball terrorist. Dad, you posted a pic in your underwear? Huh. What? Is it normal for children to see sexually explicit pictures of their parents in their underwear? Well, it was supposed to be in a comic only, but so many people asked for a real pic, so I delivered. I don't want this. No thanks.
Yes.
Let's just take a little look at this, and that's enough internet for today. It's worth noting that this creator has one set of comics that are normal, or at least not whatever this is, and one set that are X-rated. And believe me, the X-rated ones are a lot.
Yes. My stomach is full of Taco Bell, and now it's about to be full of beer. Fuck Chimos, dude. This is... like... Hear me out. It's one thing if your child is accessing the internet and exploring the... Okay, if your children or childs are exploring the internet in the perverted side of the internet, if your children are exposed to naked adults by their own choice, they're exploring the internet, you need to set up parental blocks. That's on you as the parent to be like, this is inappropriate for you. These websites are not for kids. You're getting blocked from this shit, right? But having it forced in their face, that's the difference. And nobody stops and says, maybe this isn't appropriate for kids. Because that gets overshadowed by the fact of, oh, well, you see, these people are gay, you know, and they're being progressive, and you need to be progressive too. And I'm like, no. I'm sorry, but if I ever have kids of my own and I teach them about gay pride and saying that it's okay if you're gay as long as the people you're with are consenting and it's of age and you two are old enough for each other, then who cares? Like, I try to think, how would it feel to be persecuted for being straight? Oh, wait, that's already a thing. If you're straight in today's society, you get persecuted and judged, while people who are gay, lesbian, etc. don't get judged. And that's kind of unfair because back in the day, gays, lesbians, and trans and what have you got judged. Nowadays, it's accepted to the point where it's just shoved in your fucking face. Whether you agree with it or not, it's being shoved down your throat. And if you dare say, oh, this is a little weird for me, people look at you like you're the biggest fucking asshole on the planet, like you're Hitler or some shit. You know? If it's not okay to persecute homosexuals and gays and trans, etc., then it shouldn't be okay to persecute someone for being straight. As long as you're not a fucking nasty-ass, fucking disgusting chimo, child-touching piece of shit, who fucking cares? Like, I'm tired of it. That's where we draw the line, folks. You want to be a gay, straight, lesbian, trans, whatever, go for it, right? But fuck chimos. I'll drink to that. They're like, oh crap, we're doing another Sydney Watson video response. Shocker, want to sniff it? Hey, no.
Seriously, on this occasion, I probably can't show you. But my eyeballs did not have a good time scrolling through them. While perusing this website, it struck me as more than a little odd to have comics about your kids or alleged kids, because I don't know if this person has kids, mixed in amongst comics of you doing the horizontal monster mash with men in the park. I would love to tell you
Yeah,
guys-
that's a little inappropriate. No, society could take a delicate situation like exposing kids to LGBTQ plus and doing it in a child-friendly way, but instead they do the exact opposite. And quite frankly, it's disturbing.
guys that any of this is surprising to me, but it's not. It's not. It's not.
Yeah, the look on Sydney Watson's face. Like I'm supposed to be surprised, but I'm not surprised. In a fucking society where it's like, you cannot say Mr. Potato Head because that's gender inclusive. If you call it breastfeeding, you're offensive to trans people. So the look on Sydney Watson's face, I can totally relate. It's like in our modern day society. Why? On a side note, long live fucking Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness. Could you imagine going up in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s? And then it's being like now where it's just like, what the fuck is a pronoun? Sharon! What the fuck's a pronoun, Sharon? And I'm just kidding. I love you, Ozzy. That was just a bad joke.
But the idea that exposing children to kink is completely fine is not a new one. Some of you might remember an article from 2019 that claims that parents feel their kids can handle the kink. And there are plenty of other articles.
No! Stop! There's not enough beer in my fridge to help me comprehend this bullshit. Like, fuck off. Exposing your children to the quote-unquote kink? That's so not appropriate. Fucking gross, dude. If you wouldn't let your children watch Family Guy or South Park, why would you let them get exposed to adult situations like this? And before you hate on me for being a homophobe, hear me out. I'm being serious. I support gay rights 1000%, but it's like I said, okay, there's a big difference between being progressive and being perverted. I fear by the end of this video, my case of beer that I had in the fridge will be gone. So much for saving it for later. I'm sorry, but people suck. I need a beer. If you want that t-shirt, the link is in the description box below. Check out King Cobra's Fang on the Teespring. That's what's up.
Articles from major left-wing news outlets claiming the same thing. But what's sort of unsurprising to probably none of you is that TikTok is also full of this kind of thinking.
Kink belongs at Pride. Children belong at Pride.
Nah.
Kink is not inherently sexual and has a deep-seated history in the LGBT community. It's not like a minor seeing someone wearing a collar is going to traumatize them.
Yeah, nothing remotely traumatizing about this at all.
Yeah. Sydney Watson at 5 minutes and 48 seconds. That's a bit far to prove your point, but you're right. The woman this outfit is wearing, like the outfit this woman is wearing, you can see her nipples, you can see her vagina. She's wearing this gimp leather suit and dragging some man around. on a cart. Eesh. What's up, fellow YouTubers? We're live on the YouTube channel doing a response to Sydney Watson's "And the Destruction of Child Innocence Continues." Like, fuck chimos, fuck rapists. A childhood innocence should be preserved for as long as humanly possible. Childhood innocence needs to be preserved for as long as humanly possible, because once childhood innocence is gone, it's gone forever. You go from being SpongeBob SquarePants to his grumpy ass neighbor Squidward. Think about that for a second. Childhood innocence is represented through SpongeBob SquarePants, and being a grumpy ass cranky adult is Squidward tentacles. Think about that for a second, YouTube. Let that sink in. The children shouldn't be exposed to this crap until they're in college, when they're more mature enough to deal with it. Like if a child is having their first time with their female best friend, if they've known since 4th grade, and they're both in college studying for a test, it's Friday night, and she busts out a couple of Mike's Hard Lemonades. Ooh, edgy. Then between you and her, you've downed like 6 or 7 of the Mike's Hard Lemonades, and you start feeling a little bit tipsy. All of a sudden, the feelings you've had for each other over the years give way to the alcohol in your system. You're both in college, and you end up fucking. That's different. I would encourage my younger fans who watch my videos to wait till you're in college to have sex. Ignore all the pressures from your friends in high school. I don't give a fuck. Oh, Chad says he got to squeeze Lindsay's boobs over the summer and they were nice. He's probably full of shit. Okay? This video gives me secondhand embarrassment, as Sydney Watson would put it.
I'm fine. It's fine. One particular creator that I found has a series, if you will, discussing how you should talk to children about what they see at Pride. In this video, she discusses how she would talk to a child under the age of 10 about the issue.
Did you have fun today, kiddo? It was your first Pride Parade. That's amazing. We saw a lot of new things.
Yes, no. Okay, no, stop. If your child is under the age of 10, okay, you want to support gay rights, you can do that without exposing your children to half naked or nearly naked, you know. Dude, I got the Taco Bell farts. Holy shit. Fuck. You know when you eat a bunch of Taco Bell and your stomach's full of beer and Taco Bell and you just rip ass? Yeah, that's what happens. Smell like one of Sean's farts, I swear. Now, I'm all for teaching children to be tolerant of others, because children who grow up in an intolerant household, they only spread the hate. If you got parents who are racist, or sexist or homophobic, etc., then you're only going to spread the hatred to the next generation. And that's simply just as bad as exposing children to inappropriate age-suggestive things. This is just like daughters who grow up with single moms being told that all men are pigs. She goes on her first dates expecting the worst, and she doesn't have a good time because she's taught her whole life that men are just pieces of shit. And the poor dude's just trying his best to be a gentleman if he was raised right. Okay, if you take a girl out on a date for the first time, even if it's the bazillionth time, hold the door for her, pull her chair out for her, let her pick the restaurant, shower her up with some tactical soap. You want to buy some of that tactical soap? The link is in the description box below. And with coupon code King Cobra, you can get 15% off your next order. I'm actually waiting on 5 bars of my Bond original right now, so that's what's up. You want to smell good for the ladies? Tactical soap's got like 6 amazing scents to choose from. My personal favorite is Bond number 1, the original. It's this black bar of soap. It's gothic looking because it's black. It smells of charcoal, leather, and just a really sweet masculine scent. Now, I notice that women definitely respond to it when I wear it. That's most definitely what's up. In fact, I'm wearing it right now. Got a couple slivers that I can wash with left. So there you go. Whatever happened to letting kids grow up slowly? Like, Jesus fucking Christ, your kid's 10 years old, and you're making them grow up way too fast. Just stop. Ugh, YouTube. I need a beer. Oh, wait, I got one in my hands.
Did you see anything that you have questions on?
That cheeky fucking smirk. Did you see anything you had questions about? Like, dude, if your child is under the age of 10 and they're going to a gay pride parade where the people are dressed sexually explicit and there's a lot of innuendos that borderline at the very least PG-13 to straight up rated R, of course they're going to have a lot of questions. Bro! Okay, if you have a problem with a grown-ass man running into a park with his trench coat and just flashing a bunch of kids his junk, that's not acceptable. But if you see a fucking gay dude with his ass hanging out of his assless chaps and you take your child to a parade and they see that, that's somehow more acceptable, piss off. Now, I respect the gay community. I know several people in my personal life that are either lesbian or gay. I don't judge them for it, as long as they're with people who are old enough for them. You know? I'm not trying to sound cliche, but Elton John's a beautiful singer, and he's gayer than a $2 bill. So there you go. No, I don't want to say goodbye. When I do, it'll be all right. After all, I did it all for you. Like the duet with Ozzy Osbourne and Elton John is beautiful. So no judgment here.
Those were different, huh? I don't think you've ever seen anything like that before. But you know, different isn't bad, right?
No, different isn't bad, but you should. Jesus Christ. Okay, these are certain things that kids should not be exposed to. It's just common sense. Would you let your kid drink alcohol? If the answer is no, then why would you expose them to this kind of adult situations? No, kids should not drink until they are 21 or old enough to drink within their country of residence. The fact that I have to have a conversation like, hey, here's a grown-ass man who's like 35, 40 years old, just recently came out of the closet as super gay. Oh my goodness. And he's in the fucking gay pride parade with his hairy ass and some assless chaps. The fact that we have to have a conversation to say, you know what, if you wouldn't let your child get exposed to some creep in a park with a trench coat going, da 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 da, then how is this any fucking different? Well, screw you, Cobra. It's totally, no, it's not different. Okay, to some degree, it's like if you wouldn't let a chimo expose themselves to your kids, then, you know what I'm saying? There is some difference, but it's not by much. Like, the dude's gay, he's attracted to other of-age gay men, and he's showing off his sexuality in a parade, so we're all supposed to just tolerate it. Like, I can tolerate it to a degree, but children should not be exposed to that crap. If you want to teach children gay pride and to be tolerant of people's sexuality and all that jazz, you can do it without exposing them to a man with assless chaps. I thank you.
It's actually really important that we have different things. Can you imagine if we only had one flavor of ice cream?
No, don't give me that crap. Yeah, I agree it's okay to be different. Oh, could you imagine if we only had one flavor of ice cream? I get the world to be boring as shit if everyone were straight. Right? But don't give me this crap. Okay? Jesus Christ is a cunt. Why are we having this conversation? Fuck.
That'd be real boring real fast. So those people were doing a type of adult dress up. And just like when you put on your dinosaur costume and that makes you feel good.
Okay, do not compare that to your child's dinosaur costume. You stupid business. Okay, because when your child puts on their dinosaur costume, their butt is not exposed to the entire goddamn world to show and see, is it? Exactly. Like, if your child puts on a goddamn costume pretending to be Littlefoot or Petrie or whatever Land Before Time dinosaur, there's a big difference between that and what the adults are doing in these shows. Don't give me that shit. Okay. You want to try to compare an adult man wearing assless chaps and exposing his ass to the entire world because he likes getting fucked up the ass to your child wearing a dinosaur costume. Holy fucking shit. You are mental. Because when your kid's wearing a dinosaur costume, their private parts are not exposed to the world to be paraded. It's covered up. Okay? So that's the only thing they have in common is, oh, hey, when you put on your dinosaur costume and it makes you feel good, that's the only comparison that you can make to an adult man wearing assless chaps because it makes him feel good. Other than that, shut the fuck up with this bullshit. This is the kind of crap that makes the movement look perverted. I'm sorry, but that's the goddamn truth.
When they put on those things, it makes them feel really good.
I'm not so sure that dinosaur costumes and ice cream flavors are the right comparison here.
No shit! Because when you have an ice cream flavor, okay, your ass cheeks are not required to be exposed when you're eating ice cream. Like, what the fuck? Why is this even a conversation? Holy shit, YouTube. I need a beer. I'm about out. Good thing I got more in the fridge. One second. Like, Elton John is a beautiful singer, in my opinion. He's not my biggest idol, Ozzy or Danny Filth, but he's still a good singer. And I don't judge Elton John for being homosexual. You know, I think that's awesome. He can just come out and say, this is how he feels, you know. But Elton John doesn't have to fucking go parading around in assless chaps to display his sexuality to the world. That's the difference. He can just say it, and people have questions they can ask, and then have words spoken to them to be informed. Like, exposing your children to a very sexualized gay parade is a bit much. Don't you think?
A friend? Nope, does not pass the vibe check.
You're smarty pants, and you're right sometimes. It can be about that, but not always.
Okay, that right there. Oh my god, dude. If the whole if the whole kink thing, sometimes it can be sexual, but not all the time. Okay, that right there should be enough indication to say, children do not need to be exposed to this crap. You can teach your children about gay pride without exposing them to sexual shit. Fuck, dude. Why are we having this goddamn conversation? Fucking society pisses me off. Like, it just feels like society is getting stupider and stupider and stupider and stupider. And the only thing that helps keep me sane in this society is to fucking smoke some weed and drink some beer and be like, okay, now I can cope with this. I'm all for teaching our kids to be a bit more progressive, but you can do it without being a complete fucking pervert. fucking ridiculous.
There are details about this that I can't share with you yet, but we can keep having conversations.
Okay, that right there. If there are details about this conversation you can't share it with them because it's too explicit, then why expose it to them in the first place? Like, if you're not going to have a conversation with your kid about HIV/AIDS, that a little too far?
And I'm never going to lie to you about it. And whether it's about that or not, guess what still applies? Consent. You're right. Do you remember what we talked about for consent? Let's talk about it more.
I do find it.
Oh, I disagree with this mother telling her 10-year-old about this crap, but she does bring up a lot of fair points. For example, consent is the key word. Fuck rape in all forms. Like, if you wouldn't expose your daughter or son to this crap at a certain age, then you're one of the good parents. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Poor Sydney Watson getting exposed to this crap. Being like, this is what I do for YouTube. Why?
Interesting that this particular woman even acknowledges that there are certain things about this topic she can't explain to the pretend child in question, which to me kind of indicates that even she acknowledges that none of this is appropriate.
No shit! If there are certain topics, like, I agree with Sydney Watson on this 1000%. Like, if there are certain aspects of this topic that are not appropriate for kids, then it's probably not appropriate for kids in general. It's okay to teach your kids tolerance and all that, but, to quote Terrence Popp, but if there are certain aspects of the conversation that are a little inappropriate, then maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Space where kids and kink can both exist. A lot of other creators have talked about the need for kink at Pride, and I want to set our kids up for success by role modeling the conversation I have when I bring kids to Pride. First Pride! I'm so excited. Grab your stuff. I'm so glad that your mom let me take you. You know I love being your lesbian auntie.
Ah! I have family members and friends and acquaintances that are adults that are gay. Okay, to some degree. And I'm telling you right now, if you're a kid and you're gay, hey man, I don't judge. You're doing what makes you happy. You're unapologetically yourself. As long as you're with a fellow kid. If you're a gay kid and you're with a fellow kid who's gay and it's consensual, more power to you, right? But outside of that, you should not be exposing your kids to this crap. Like, oh, you're a kid and you're bringing them to their first gay pride parade like it's a thing? Stop. Okay. like, if the fucking gay pride parades didn't feature scantily clad men and women dressed in a sexual nature, I wouldn't have a problem with it. As far as like kids being exposed to it. But like a lot of these gay pride parades, no offense to the LGBTQ community, a lot of these fucking parades feature adults who are scantily clad and dressed in very inappropriate clothing that kids should not be exposed to. And it's like, stop. Okay, teaching them tolerance has nothing to do with, oh, look, some dude's got his ass hanging out. Oh, look at that. And the poor kid being scarred for life, going, I didn't want to see that.
And we're going to go. Oh, I'm so excited for you to experience this safe space where you get to feel loved and accepted for your little weird queer self.
The lip bite. It's not my favorite. Not to children.
Yeah.
Why is this? I think it's also worth noting that this particular topic has the gay community split. There are plenty of people that argue kink should not be at Pride in the first place. But if it must be, then people need to realize that Pride isn't a child-friendly space. Even
okay. The fact that this is even a conversation, it's not about the kink, it's about being proud to be gay. What? Okay, having the whole kink factor. I'm just saying, what the fuck does that have to do with being homosexual? Other than you're trying to make it more sexually explicit than it needs to be. No, I get judged for being heterosexual and goth. I'm attracted to of-age females. And people judge me for it. Just because it's now politically incorrect to be straight. And the only reason that happens is because gays and trans and everybody else have had to face shit. Like, you can be proud to be gay without it having to include some kind of kink. You know? Because you gotta think, hey, maybe, and the fact that we have to have this conversation is extremely exhausting. Ugh, my tummy is full of Taco Bell. I'm one of the few people that can eat Taco Bell without getting. I can eat Taco Bell without getting the shits, which kind of sucks for people who, you know, beside the point. Like, no disrespect to people like Elton John or the gay community in general, but I kind of feel like if you want to teach your kid about gay pride, one, you can host a parade without being sexually explicit and having the whole kink factor involved. And two, you know, you shouldn't have to take your kid to a pride parade to teach them about tolerance. You know, like, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. You can have a conversation with your kid that levels with them on their maturity level without them being exposed to shit that'll probably scar them for the rest of their life. This is Desmond. More like this will be talked about in therapy in about 20 years.
Even our friend here acknowledges that there's a distinction between children being welcome at Pride and Pride being a child-friendly space.
There's a difference between kids being welcome at Pride and Pride being a kid-friendly space.
Yeah, you said it! If you're going to welcome kids to a gay pride parade, then you got to make it kid-friendly. Like, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. If you would not expose your... Okay, sincerely, if you would not expose your kids to pornography of a kinky nature where the chick's getting spanked with a riding crop and both the man and the woman or the dude and the chick or whatever, or each person participating in the sex act is in some kinky leather suit, gimp type status, then why would you allow it at a parade? Just because, oh, gay tolerance. Which I'm all for tolerance, but there's a big difference between being tolerant and being perverted. Can we at least agree on that? I got a fucking headache right now. This conversation is making my head hurt. Because I'm like, it shouldn't even be a fucking conversation. It should just be common sense. You wouldn't let your kids watch South Park. You wouldn't let your kids watch porno. So why would you let them get exposed to sexual shit in a fucking gay pride parade? For the love of Christ, is a cunt. This is ridiculous.
It is your responsibility as the caretaker of a child to understand the space and your child's needs and adjust how you bring your kid to that space to keep them safe.
Oh, here's an idea. You can just not bring your kid to a gay pride parade and teach them tolerance without fully exposing them to a bunch of fucking inappropriate shit that your kid shouldn't be exposed to. There is a fucking thought. Like this whole, oh, you need to be responsible for your kid and what's appropriate, and like if no, stop. If you wouldn't let your kid watch pornography, man, then why would you let them get exposed to a bunch of adults wearing assless chaps and nipple covers? No, it's the fucking truth, YouTube. I'm not trying to shit all over gay pride. I support gay and trans LGBTQ plus rights, as long as you're not hurting children and it's consensual. And the people you're with are of age or old enough for you. You know? Like if you're a child and you're a lesbian, and the person you're with is also a lesbian and it's consensual and that person's also a child, then there you go. You're discovering your first love. It's pure and innocent. But like, holy crap. It's fucking ridiculous.
Even here, the other side typically argues that it's still important to introduce children to these concepts and ideas to promote tolerance and inclusivity. The 2019 article I referenced earlier quoted one writer, and I guess a parent, as saying, "Nobody likes nakedness more than children." This is not the gotcha that you think it is. On the list of things I don't want my children ever to be exposed to are compulsory heterosexuality, demonstrations of sexism, demonstrations of racism, demonstrations of ableism, violence. These are all way higher on the list than some homosexuals took us.
Okay.
As if heterosexual-
Okay. I agree with that to a point. Like, you don't want your kids being exposed to intolerance. Well, if we live in a fucking society where, like, people are like, I don't want my kid being exposed to heterosexuality, but the fucking extremist, sex-crazed overtones of a gay pride parade, that's perfectly fine. It's like, okay, we go from living in a society where homosexuals are not tolerated to where they're forcibly tolerated, and if you're straight, you're a fucking asshole. And it's like, stop. We live in a society where homosexuals and trans, LGBTQ+, elemental P, what the fuck ever, are intolerated. Now we live in a society where if you're straight and you identify as the sex you were born, everyone looks at you like you're a fucking monster. And if you bitch about how unfair it is, you get told to check your privilege. And here's the best part of it. If you were born after all this crap happened, you can't control whether or not homosexuals and trans people and lesbians were treated like shit in the past. You can't control whether those people were treated like shit in the past. You're born into your own and / a product of your own time. You're a product of your own time, YouTube. That's the fucking truth.
Sexuality is more damaging to children than seeing adults walking around naked, sticking. Another 20.
Oh, Sydney Watson. Got a little Popeye sailor mouth.
19 article by GQ argues that there's nothing at Pride children shouldn't see.
I
It
disagree.
says that children are curious by nature, but they are resilient, and when asking questions, they are easily bored by answers delivered direct and deadpan, where people don't splutter or say never you mind. Most children need.
Okay, just because children are curious by nature doesn't mean they should just be exposed to whatever the fuck your progressive bullshit fucking preaches. I'm sorry, but regardless of the situation, if I wouldn't let some pedophile, rapist, sick fuck expose himself to my kid, I certainly wouldn't want a gay man exposing himself to my kid. That's just the truth, regardless of the intent. Now, I know there's a difference between the two, but that's kind of beside the point. Like, I'm not trying to crap on homosexuals, but that's the goddamn truth. If I don't want a grown-ass man flashing his penis to my kid, then I certainly don't want a grown-ass man flashing his ass to my kid, all in the name of being progressive. Fuck you.
Simple explanation. No diagrams or supporting video of violence usually necessary, and they file it away in questions I asked but don't really care about anymore. This article goes on to argue that oppression is often hidden under the guise of protecting children. The fact is that kids do and will ask questions about basically anything. And when it comes
That's the truth. Kids are naturally curious. They're going to ask questions about the world because they're new to it. And if you give them a bullshit answer, they'll find the answer. So it's like your kid goes, hey, mommy, daddy, where do babies come from? And you give them that bullshit answer, well, the stork brings babies to mommy and daddy. they pull out their smartphone and go, bullshit, says here, you and mommy have sex, and if mommy's on her period, then that's how it happens. And she either pushes the baby out of her vagina, or she has to get a C-section where they cut open her stomach and pull the baby out. That's why I got mad sympathy for women. I could not begin to imagine being able to have the gift / curse of being able to bring life into this miserably fucked off world. So women, no matter what happens, you always have my respect. I'll drink to that.
Comes to innocuous things, it's all fine and dandy. But I think the primary point here that's being lost in all of this is that the ideas, concepts, imagery, etc., to which children are being exposed in these environments are not innocuous. They are the furthest thing from innocuous. And a prevailing, unchanging idea is putting people to graphic sexual imagery and acts is not okay.
I agree, Sydney Watson. 1000%. Exposing, as Sydney Watson calls them, putting people to graphic sexual shit is simply not okay. Let me ask you this. Would you show your child a gay porno of 2 adult men or 2 adult women fucking the shit out of each other in order to say, hey, look how progressive we are? Okay, you wouldn't show your child gay porn. So what's the difference? There's no sex involved, but it's still sexual in nature, so not much in difference.
Take porn, for example. It has long been argued that exposure to pornography and the like is psychologically and developmentally harmful for children. And even just seeing hypersexualized imagery can be detrimental to children and young people.
Okay, let me tell you something. The shit you see in porno is scripted. It's not real. Okay? The crap you see in porno, it's not real. It's not what, you know what I'm saying? The crap you see in porno, it's not what women and men want. It's just this fantasy played out by both sides. Dude, if I could taste the Taco Bell on my burps. Delicious. You want to check out my Taco Bell food review that I did featuring the chicken chalupa? That is on my channel as we speak. Oh, fuck. Like, so either we got 2 options. If adults want to be perverted and overly progressive with their gay pride parade, then children should not be allowed to attend. But if you want children to attend your pride parade, then the adults in that parade need to tone it down just a little bit. Those are your 2 options.
It is not absurd or controversial to suggest that certain things are simply not appropriate for tiny humans. What is bizarre, though, is that there seems to be claims that adult imagery and behavior is actually perfectly fine for putting people. UNICEF, a branch of the UN,
UNICEF reports says where pornography is not always harmful to children. Bullshit! When children get to that age where they start discovering their sexuality, that magical time in a child's life known as puberty. Oh, jeez. You think my trolls suck ass? Puberty sucks worse than my trolls, dude. And chimos and rapists suck more than puberty. So there you go. We understand the dynamic here. Bullshit! Pornography is not harmful to children. It sets a false percentage and a false prestige of what sex between two consenting adults should look like. So when they get to that age where they want to have it, their whole idea of it is miscued and incorrect. Instead of being true to what it should be, it's misguided to what they see on pornography. And that's bullshit. So don't give me this fucking bullshit about how pornography isn't harmful to children. That's bullshit.
Recently reported that pornography is not always harmful to children.
Ah, Jesus Christ is a cunt. Cradle of Filth reference. Hold up, YouTube. Oh, man. I gotta drink this beer and take a beer piss. This is ridiculous. We're at 11 minutes and 6 seconds into the video, and the whole video is 17 minutes long. Holy shit. It tastes like Taco Bell beer. Oh, delicious. Okay. We'll continue this awkward yet much needed discussion after a second. Let me finish emptying the case. We're down to our last 3 beers. We've got some Bud Light Platinum, not sponsor. Gotta be 21 and up to drink. Which brings me to my next point, YouTube. If you wouldn't let your kid drink or get exposed to situations where adults drink a shit ton of alcohol and make asses of themselves, all puns aside, then why would you want to let your kid get exposed to a homosexual wearing assless chaps where his fucking ass is hanging in your kid's face? I'm sorry, but that's the goddamn truth. Okay. shout out to Peter Kane and Sam the Raven. Completely random. But I watch Peter Kane dog training, and that dude's awesome. You know, I'll tune in to watch all of his videos. But I like his pet raven, Sam. Of course, Sam's not really a pet raven. He's more or less a companion, to be honest. And if I could afford to have a raven of my own, I would. You know, but get me an all-black raven named Hades if it was male, or Hecate or Lilith if it was female. Yes. But I can't afford to take care of a raven, so...
Which apparently was deleted, but I still managed to find anyway, because Supreme Overlord Sydney ain't no liar. The report does say that there is no consensus on the degree to which pornography is harmful to children. It also adds that—
What? Okay. Holy crap. I need a fresh beer for this. There are several different kinds of risks and harms that have been linked to children's exposure to pornography, but there is no consensus on the degree to which pornography is harmful to children. How about we just don't let children get exposed to that crap? Because let me tell you something. You think my sex drive would be as hyper as it is if I wasn't exposed to it when I was a kid? And the only reason I got exposed to pornography as a kid is because I was accessing porn sites when my parents weren't looking. But I always got caught in the end. And my parents would look at me and go, "Well, you're grounded from the computer, mister." Prominent advocates point to research arguing that access to pornography at a young age is linked with poor mental health, sexism and objectification, sexual aggression, and other negative outcomes. The evidence suggests that some children appear to be harmed by exposure to some kinds of pornography, at least some of the time, but that nature and extent of that harm vary. Yeah, because kids are not mature enough to be like, okay, you see a woman wearing a dominatrix suit and a man getting spanked and enjoying it, or vice versa. It's just done for adult entertainment. And that's not how real sex is supposed to be represented. Why are we having this conversation, YouTube? Like, this is explicit as it's going to get on my channel.
The evidence suggests that some children appear to be harmed by exposure to some kinds of pornography at least some of the time, but that the nature and extent of the harm can vary. It then goes on to reference a 2020 EU Kids Online study of...
An EU Kids Online study compared survey findings from 19 European countries and found that most countries, most children who saw sexual images online were either upset or happy, ranging from 27% in Switzerland to 72% in Lithuania. Between 10% and 4% were fairly or very upset, and between 3% of children in Estonia and 39% in Spain reported feeling happy after seeing such images. Ugh. So you got mixed results.
19 European countries, that found most children who saw sexual images online were neither upset nor happy. It also
No, when I saw images of Britney Spears naked on the internet, even if they were fake, that made me happy as a kid, I'll tell you what. Being rejected by every chick I liked growing up, on top of me being naughty and checking out pornographic websites when I wasn't supposed to, when I wasn't old enough to, you know what I'm saying? To being told, oh, Cobra. Of course, they didn't say Cobra, they said Josh. By that time, I wasn't the famous YouTuber that I am now, but you know what I'm saying? No, Josh, you're such a handsome young fellow. I get told I'm such a handsome young man. Yeah, I get rejected by every chick I like growing up. So naturally, I would look at images of naked women on the internet as a kid because no woman would want to be with me growing up. I didn't get my first girlfriend until I was in Job Corps. And yeah, you know her as Stephanie Peterson. I regret fucking that relationship up, but there's nothing I can do about it except learn from my mistakes. You know what it's like to be told you're such a handsome young man, and then you get rejected by every chick you like? It's sexually frustrating. It's like, yeah, I'm so you guys lie. Either it's you guys lied to me, or these chicks have way too high of standards. Either I'm not handsome and you're just saying that to be nice, or the chicks that I'm going after have way too high of standards, or they can't admit that they think Saunders is cute. And it's just this female complex or some shit. That's kind of off topic, but even when I was a kid, I had a room full of bikini-clad poster chicks, like any normal teenager would. Marie Patricia or Patrika, however you pronounce it, Miss Hawaiian Tropic in that red bikini with the black lines and the blonde hair. Yeah. You ever seen that Miss Hawaiian Tropic International poster that you get at Walmart of some hot blonde named Marie Patrika or Patricia, however you pronounce it? And it's this chick in a red bikini with a black frame around it. Yeah, you know the fucking poster I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, yes. Dude, good gravy. I got this Dakota Customs and Shoppers poster. I got it at a hot rod show. My dad was doing photography for the hot rods and the motorcycles at this hot rod show. I go up to a stand at the tender age of being a little kid, practically junior high, just barely old enough to understand shits. And like this smoking hot goth chick gave me a poster for free and she signed it. And like it's got a picture of this hot blonde and this hot goth chick. And they're both posing next to the same bike in separate images. I still have the image hanging up right there next to my computer. And let me tell you, that probably played a big influence to me being goth, apart from listening to Cradle of Filth. Beside the point.
Reported that 39% of Spanish children felt happy when seeing such images. Wait a minute. What's going on in Spain? And finally, the report states that from a rights perspective, extreme care would be needed.
Nothing's going on in Spain, Sydney. Kids will reach that point in their age where they discover their sexuality and they hit puberty. So when they look up images of a pornographic nature which depict their sexuality, of course they're going to be happy with it. It's just natural. When I was a kid, movies like Mean Girls came out. I was like 15 or 16 or 14 when Mean Girls came out, to be honest. So, like when you see that scene with Lindsay Lohan and Mean Girls walking down the hallway and their titties bouncing, you're just like, and the fact that she's old enough now, okay, and when I first saw that, I was a kid, about the same age. Keep in mind that Lindsay Lohan is like 4 years older than me, so there you go. I've done the math. When you're a horny adolescent and you see a woman that you find attractive doing the most innocent of things, which can be taken super sexually with your hyperly sexualized mind, and at that age, it's just natural to hypersexualize a lot of shit, to be honest. That's the curse of going through puberty, is you hypersexualize a lot of shit. Ugh. Shit, it's Sunday. Let me finish this video response. I already got my Patreon videos done. That's most definitely what's up. If you want to see those Patreon videos, subscribe to it. Yes.
To avoid excluding children from sexual and reproductive health information online. Sexuality education, including resources for LGBTQ education, may be categorized as pornography in some contexts.
This is where we have a problem with it. Information online, sexuality education, including resources for LGBTQ plus education, may be categorized as pornography in some contexts. Okay, if you want to teach your kids about different sexualities, as long as you're not being graphic with it, who cares? Because there are going to be some kids who are going, hey, wait a minute, I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't gonna say it. You're going to have some kids who are confused about their sexuality when they get to the age of puberty, peer pressure, and hormones. Ugh. And like being able to educate children at that age about the different sexualities without being graphic about it, without being pornography or perverted about it, is the best way to do it. You know, if your kid's in junior high and they're surrounded by a world where everything is a lie, you know, or they're at a confusing time in their life where like they have feelings for both their best friend Lindsay and then their best friend Chad, and they're not sure how to comprehend that, and they're super confused, and you have a school system that's progressive enough without being perverted that says if you like both sexes, you're bisexual, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's consensual. If you have a fucking goddamn, you know what I'm saying? That's just it. That's how it should be. We need to tell our kids, hey, if you want to be gay, you want to be straight, you want to be semi-sexual, demisexual, whatever fucking sexual, as long as the people you're with are of age for you, each other's are old enough for each other's, and it's consensual, who cares? Like, you yourself come out as bisexual and the person you're with is also bisexual or lesbian, whatever, and you're consenting to some good times, who cares? You're at a party with your fellow classmates just doing your thing, you know? As long as it's consensual, who cares? And if the assholes want to harass you for being lesbian, then I guess it's because they're insecure with their own sexuality, and that's why they fucking harass you for being lesbian, because you're more secure with it than they are. I tend to think homophobes are just secretly gay themselves. That's what I think. Because, like, outside of the whole fucking deal, I don't give a shit if you're gay, straight, lesbian, trans, bisexual, queer, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer. That's what the LGBTQ stands for. As long as the people you're with are old enough for you and it's consensual, who the fuck cares? Like, if you're more worried about what someone else is doing with their vagina / penis, I tend to think you're gay and you can't come to terms with it. Or if you're attacking someone because they haven't been laid in a couple of years, that you're more insecure with their sexuality than you are with your own, or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're more insecure with your own sex life than the person you're attacking is what I was trying to say.
Which sort of illustrates my point here. And from my perspective, and I know that people disagree with this, if something can be considered porn, it looks like porn and it acts like porn, then it is probably more than likely inappropriate.
Sydney, I love your videos, honey, but let's have a discussion about that. What's considered pornography in our society is basically this. If it invokes sexual thoughts, it's considered pornographic. But I would disagree to that extent. Because I can go on Chatterbaits and watch of-age women get naked, play with their boobies, and twist their nipples, and rub their clit, and fucking spray a load of pussy juice all over their camera lens. And me in turn being like, you know what I'm saying? That's pornography. But if you see a woman who's displaying a tasteful nude, and that's where the gray area comes into play, like tasteful nude versus shoving it in your face. Like if you're at an art museum, if someone made a piece about a naked man or a naked statue or a naked woman, nudity itself isn't pornographic, but when it's being used to push an agenda that's probably not appropriate for kids, you know, like if you wouldn't expose your children to pornography, then why would you want to push the gay agenda on them? Again, it's okay to push tolerance on your kids and be like, hey, listen, you shouldn't bully someone just because they're gay, straight, lesbian, trans, bisexual, queer, etc. You want to bully someone for being a pedophile? Go right a fucking head. Fuck those sick assholes. Agree. We gotta draw the line somewhere, folks.
I'm not talking about innocuous health images of people's bodies. We all saw enough of that when we were 10 and we went to the museum. As
Yeah, no shit.
expected, this UNICEF report
UNICEF reports dismissing pornography's harms to children removed from sight. So once UNICEF realized that, hey, we can't just make extreme fucking stupid shit about it. Eventually realized,
said anti-porn proponents. The vice president and director of the Research Institute at the National Center of Sexual Exploitation argued that UNICEF's report ignores the vast body of research.
Yeah, okay. Mainstream pornography contains the following: horrific sexual abuse, rape, incest, racism, all of which children should not consume. I would concur with that. If I go on to X videos and I want to see some lesbian porno, some of-age chick with some big titties squirting all over each other, I'll get an ad or a little suggestion for some really fucked up pornos in the descriptions below. Like below that video, here's a video for this, a video for that. You know, it's like stepmom fucks her stepdaughter's pussy and makes her squirt. And I'm like, why the fuck do I want to watch that? Like, even if they're not related, that's just, why is that a category? I find myself asking that shit all the fucking time. when I'm perusing through the adult pornography section of the internet, watching X videos or chatterbaits, preferably chatterbait, but when chatterbait doesn't catch my muse, and I'm watching a fucking of-age chick doing her thing, I'll see suggestions for pornography videos to where I'm like, even as a grown-ass man, why is that a category? That's fucking disgusting. Like, even if there's no children involved, it's still disgusting. Like, you see stepmom porn and incest porn and racist porn and rape porn, etc. And it's just like, why is that a category? I need a drink. 1 second. I want to pull an Archer. Lana! What Archer? What the shit? Danger zone? Gonna spill beer all over my Aussie shirt. Whoops. Daisy.
Research demonstrating the harms of pornography to children. Mainstream pornography.
Yeah, there is, long story short, it creates this false reality. And this is basically the way my parents explained it when I was growing up. Okay? My stepmom and my dad explained it this way. What you see on pornography is not real life. It is just scripted to fulfill the fantasy of some really sick individuals. And long story short, what you see in pornography is not real sex. It is scripted to entertain a certain group of people. Now, believe me, when I got caught trying to look up naked female of-age celebrities on my parents/grandparents' computer, I always got caught. And eventually it became that conversation at the dinner table. Like, oh, great. So Josh discovered boobies. Well, this is hilarious. Of course, now if I Google Britney Spears buck-ass naked, there's a couple photos of her with her boobies popped out, and it's like, yes. Oops, I did it again. But to suggest that pornography is not harmful to children, you're full of shit. Okay? Children are not even old enough to experience sex, and yet when they experience it for the first time as healthy young adults, their guide and view of it is misguided because of this shit. Dude, fuck. Or 12 minutes and 45 seconds with 17 minutes.
Contains horrific sexual abuse, rape, incest, racism, all of which children should not consume. UNICEF's milquetoast assessment of the impacts hardcore pornography can have on children does nothing to challenge the political narrative that pornography is benign, and as a result puts children in harm's way. But if
Yeah, because the websites, and we've all been there, if you're a 90s baby, you already know what's up. If you are 18 or older, click yes. If you are under the age of 18, please leave this site. Like that's going to stop kids from accessing pornography. The fuck out of here. Of course they're going to lie and say, yeah, I'm totally over the age of 18. Click yes. Boobies! Of-age chicks, of-age women squirting out of their pussies and twisting their boobies. Dudes titty fucking chicks and busting a nut all over their face and their titties. That's the only thing I don't like about titty fucking from my personal experience. It's like, I want to give the woman full consent and warning before it happens. Like if I'm privileged enough to find a hot chick with some double D titties and I got a of-age titty in each hand and I'm squeezing her boobs between my cock and just, you know, she's leaning down with her face to lick and suck my cock. I want to give her some warning before I'm about to bust. That way she has at least a couple seconds to at least a minute to kind of like, whoa, hold up a second. You know what I'm saying? Men these days have no class. Like, regardless if she's titty fucking you or sucking your dick, would it kill men to be like, hey, you know what? I'm about to bust in nuts. If you don't want to fucking swallow it or have it all over your face or have to spit it out, I'd step the fuck back for a second. Oh, fuck. But if you wouldn't show a video of your, you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, if you would not show a video of some dude taking his throbbing hard cock and titty fucking a chick to your child, why would you fuck and titty fuck dude taking his throbbing hard cock and of some dude taking his throbbing hard cock and titty fucking a chick to your child? Why would you want to show your child stuff that goes on in a gay pride parade? I'm all for supporting gay rights, but if gay pride parades aren't going to tone it down, then children should not be allowed at those events. Okay? If you disagree with me, then you're a pedophile and you can go fuck yourself, you nasty, sick asshole. Like, that's the goddamn truth. If you know what I'm saying? Say to yourself, do you want your kid being exposed to a random stranger's ass, wearing assless chaps and shaking their ass and all this other shit? No, dude. Fuck off. Like, this is ridiculous. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We got 4 more minutes of this video. I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back. The second beer piss in the same video. What is this? Like, I'm all for supporting gay rights, but there's a big difference between being progressive and being perverted. Being progressive is teaching your kids it's not okay to judge somebody just because they like the same sex. But being perverted is saying, hey, you're going to take your kid to a gay pride parade where they're exposed to men walking around with their asses and their dicks hanging out and women with their fucking titties hanging out. Like, no, dude. Cheers. We got about 4 more minutes of this Sydney Watson video response. I don't know. I might have accidentally turned off the chat, but that's all right.
If we're being honest, it's more than this. It's not just that we're putting young people in harm's way. It's that we're giving them a blueprint of how to treat one another in a sexual environment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's exactly another point I'd like to make. Thank you, Sydney Watson. Fucking preach, girly. This sexy Aussie is preaching to the choir. Not only are we damaging children's ideologies of everything, but when children look at pornography versus when adults watch it, adults are mature enough to be like, this is not how you treat women. This is just scripted for entertainment purposes, for whatever sick bastard finds it entertaining. But children don't see it like that. They just see it as, well, the adults talk about sex, so this is how it's supposed to go. And that's why we have a lot of problems on the dating scene, because by the time these children are old enough to date, they've been brainwashed by everything. So rather than being like, okay, here's a chick who's getting gangbanged by 5 dudes. She got a cock in between her tits, a cock in her pussy, a cock in her ass, a cock in her mouth, and a cock in each hand. And she's getting splooged on by like all these dudes. You know, a regular adult's gonna be like, that's disgusting, but that's done for entertainment. But a kid watching that crap is going to be going, so this is what sex is? All of a sudden now women are being treated in a degrading manner because the younger generation is being fed this lie about love and relationships. Think about that, ladies. I'm with you on this 1000%.
Women are being pressured into sex at earlier ages, with oral sex being what kissing was 20 years ago, and the notion of anal sex now being normalized as a standard practice. Boys and men are encouraged by the same imagery to adopt aggressive roles in sex with women, to degrade and objectify them. Honestly, porn.
You know what? I kind of agree. I can't speak for the younger generation, but when I was a kid, the pressure was, oh, I hate to have a girl sit on your lap and to make out with you. Perfectly innocent shit compared to today's standards. Like growing up as a kid in the society I grew up in, the most sexual shit that I got was at like a teen center dance, and a bunch of chicks fully clothed dancing with me, but they're all grinding up their ass in those jeans, grinding up against my crotch. You know, simulating it, but not fully, you know. So my point is, what's the problem with just sticking with that? Like, you want to make out and kiss with your fellow teens? You want to grind, dance in a provocative way that keeps your clothes on but still stimulates the real thing? Again, that's a lot better than full on doing it, because let me tell you something. How would it feel to be a 16-year-old girl and some guy you were pressured to fuck gets you pregnant? Now, instead of going to the mall to hang out with your friends like a normal teenager, you're stuck at home, fat, disgusting, and bloated, and raising a kid. Meanwhile, your baby daddy is stuck working that same dead-end job. You know, that McDonald's job you got in high school to help pay for things like CDs, a car, some brand new sneakers. All of a sudden, you're working that McDonald's job to pay for your kid. You know, and nothing you do is good enough for that woman. You could bend over backwards and kiss the cunt she walks on between her legs, and it's still not good enough. And it's like, well, welcome to being in a relationship, and welcome to being in a relationship in high school. Could you imagine you and your buddies are like, hey, Chad, you want to go to the mall and check out all the hot chicks? And you're just like, no, man, I can't. My girl asked me to stay home and help take care of the kid. And it's my day off, so I want to spend time with my baby mama. That would suck ass. So it's like I said, wait till you're in college to have sex. Trust me, that shit sucks, okay? Ignore the pressures you feel from us adults when it comes to sex. Wait till you're in college, or till you're preferably comfortable and you use protection and you're safe. Because nobody wants to be that one chick that's like 15, 16 years old, popping out a kid. You're fat and disgusting because you're pregnant. and you feel like every other girl's prettier than you, and now you have to miss out on your senior prom because you're pregnant. Like, if you want to scare kids from having sex, here's something to think about. I want all my underage fans to look at a video of a woman giving birth the old school vagina way. And if you're underage and you're a female who watches my videos, maybe you're still in high school, you'll watch that and go, oh, fuck, that looks painful as shit. You start thinking about how that would make your vagina feel. And you're going, ow, no thank you. And every dude watching that's going, wait, that's my responsibility until that fucker's 18. No, thank you. You end up becoming a kid, raising a kid. That's something to think about. So the next time you go to have sex or relations, no, I'm not saying you can't have any fun because you're a teenager, you're horny, and you want to have some fun. But what I'm telling you right now is if it doesn't go past making out and touching, then who cares? You're a teenager, you're exploring your sexuality. You're touching each other, you're kissing. It's perfectly natural. Your hormones are racing. As long as it doesn't go past that, who cares? And if it does go past that, put a condom on, you dipshit. But just know this, condoms don't always protect against STDs, STIs, /pregnancy. But just because you put a condom on doesn't mean you're guaranteed protection from unwanted sexually transmitted diseases and unwanted pregnancy. Condoms definitely don't protect against drama, am I right? Oh, because that seems to be a big part of the dating scene is fucking drama. You and your girlfriend broke up, so you fucked your best friend to get back at her. Now her and her best friend are fighting, and they dragged you into it, and you were just like, hey man, I wanted some pussy. I didn't want the drama that goes with it. Should have thought about that before you got your dick wet, stud. Which is why I'm like, wait till you're in college to do some shit like that. Trust me. High school should be for millions that are of age and different shapes and sizes, from small boobs to big boobs to big boobs to goddamn, that could fucking give me a black eye. And it's like, yes, lesbian bunkeries, as they're called, lesbian squirt orgies. And it's like, yes, I could watch this. And you get to the point where you're watching it and you're touching yourself, jacking off, and you just see a bunch of age chicks you don't even know licking each other's pussies and sucking each other's tits and dildoing each other's pussies out and using a strap-on to fuck each other senseless. You're just like, okay, this is kind of hot. And then you watch them all orgasm and you're done. But it's like, I get that, okay, to a degree. But when it's the other way around, you're seeing weird-ass categories that just make you go, nope.
Why even implant this idea into people's heads, into young people's heads? Why are we like this? Why am I even on this planet? Where is the emergency exit I'd like to leave? All of this leads us to a very important question. And that question is, how much further are we going to take all of this? Let's take a recent episode of Blue's Clues, for example. The show where you thought the old host went insane and killed himself because he had to speak to a pretend dog all the time. Well, apparently that was a lie. And he's actually alive and well. Don't even act like you 90s babies didn't buy into that, because I know that you did. Kids shows have always been vessels designed to deliver ideas to kids. In days gone by, it feels like these messages were more morality-based. Don't lie, don't steal, don't be unkind to other people, don't turn into a mermaid and then not use your powers to save the ocean. But in recent times, it feels as if these children's shows have moved their messaging in a completely different direction, towards wokeism or adult-centric ideas. A recent episode of Blue's Clues was centered around pride. It featured a drag queen singing to us, I guess, and even a little beaver with top surgery mastectomy scars. Even Snopes agrees that's what this is.
An animated pride parade from the Nick Jr. show Blue's Clues and You featured a beaver with scars from top surgery. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is a C-bomb. Let me grab my Cobra cane. And make the fucking face that I'm making right now. And scratch my back with this shit because this is ridiculous. Side note, if you got a walking cane, this is why it helps to have one with a cobra head on the top. You can use it as a back scratcher. My only complaint about my pimp cane that I have here is this not a sword. I can't just unscrew it and be like, oh, on God, Missy a slag.
And those Snopes are usually a bunch of dirty liars. I mean, I didn't even know that these...
I get to the age where I need a cane. Guess which one I'm grabbing? If you guess this one, you're right. My doctor is going to be like, Mr. Cobra, King Cobra, Josh Saunders, you're going to have to use a cane from now on. You're at that age. I'm like, I already got one, doc. Put a stopper on the bottom of it. The fucking Jafar status, dude. Let's straight up.
beavers had boobs to be removed. So there you go. I guess you learn something new every day.
No shit, Sydney. You learn something new every day. All right.
Families marching 3 by 3, hurrah, hurrah. These papas are non-binaries. They love each other so proudly, and they...
Okay. I'm all for teaching kids tolerance, but here's the problem with it. When you're shoving it into their face versus slowly introducing them to it, just straight up in your face, you can't do nothing about it. This is how the world's progressing. If you don't like it, you're a transphobe. A lot of adults feel uncomfortable with this because it's like being a straight phobe is totally tolerated in our society. But if you're a trans/gay phobe, no one is going to stick up for you. That's only because trans and gays and what have you were discriminated against. And now that they have all the rights in the world, it's now politically incorrect to rip on them. And it's like, how about a society where everyone gets along, where as long as you're not harming children, who gives a fuck if you're straight, lesbian, trans, gay, queer, etc. Preach to that.
All go marching in the big parade.
Bayer just reached another $2 billion settlement for individuals who developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or other qualifying cancers after using Roundup weed killer. This comes after the $11 billion settlement reached last.
Okay, this is a really inappropriate fucking ad to fucking post with the fucking video that I'm doing right now. Like, okay, children are getting exposed to pornography, and look at that. You might be entitled to a compensation for cancer.
Yep, gotta have that disabled dolphin in there. As expected, the response to this episode was quite varied. You had people on one side of the coin saying that this was totally inappropriate, while people on the other side argued that it's completely fine, and in fact, children should be exposed to these ideas. But we have to roll back around.
Okay, this is where society gets it extremely twisted. And I may need to grasp my Cobra cane and my beer. 1 second. I paid like $108 for this Cobra cane, and then walking around with it, the head came off. So I stuck some tin foil and some clear drying Gorilla Glue into the part right here, and then screwed it back onto the cane part, and then spray painted the cane parts black so I can make it my two favorite colors, black and green. But it chipped away, and the pewter of the silver chipped away in certain areas. So there you go. This is the results. But like, okay, okay, I'm definitely gonna need a smoke after this, so I'll be going outside to have a smoke after this video. But this is the truth of it, YouTube. Like, if you want to expose children to ideas like transgender and gay rights and all this other adult-themed crap, there's a way to do it without being perverted. Like I said, there's a big difference between being perverted and progressive. Big difference between being perverted and progressive.
To the question of whether or not it's okay to expose children to adult-centric ideas before they're ready, and whether or not...
Yeah, it should not be okay to expose children to adult-centric ideas before they're ready. Like, that's just messed up, period. I don't care what the adult situation is.
Is appropriate. I look at this topic as a whole, and I can't help but feel
fucking Jafar status with this. Like,
feel like we're letting our kids down. It's not that they shouldn't know that different kinds of people exist with different sexualities and interests and so on.
Exactly. Thank you, Sydney. I'll drink to that. It's not about your kids being told this and that, how they shouldn't be exposed to people who are LGBTQ+. It's how you present that lifestyle, if that makes any sense. Just flat out giving your kids the full 180, like, here's a lesbian couple with a double-ended dildo fucking, and I want you to watch it and be progressive, versus, hey, you know, these two chicks really like each other. They're going to hold hands, and occasionally you might see them kiss. There's a big difference.
And much as I personally don't even like the hypersexualization of pride, I'm not even arguing that pride shouldn't exist at all or that adults, consenting adults, shouldn't participate. But when it comes to the tiny noodle people, and I will say this until I am blue in the face, we should not be introducing things to them or pushing things on them when they are not ready for them.
They're basically saying, hey, if it's not appropriate for kids, it shouldn't be pushed on the kids. That's not too unreasonable. Like, that's not fucking unreasonable. To be honest. Nobody here is saying, hey, kids shouldn't be exposed to tolerance, period, because fuck tolerance. No. Okay, don't get it twisted. I'm all for tolerance and gay acceptance, but you gotta consider your audience. That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna fucking throw this away. Yes. Now the stopper on this is a little wore off, but it's there for like nostalgic or like our goth gentleman with his walking stick kind of thing. I don't actually need it for medical purposes, but I'm autistic and I gotta be careful walking around town with my Cobra cane because some people will get offended because I don't need it for actual medical use. And because I'm not that kind of person, there are a lot of people who need a cane because that's just how it is. I don't want to be that one asshole that's just like, oh, I'm walking around with it because I think it looks cool and then just piss off everybody else. Fuck that. So it stays in my collection of staffs and wands for the most part. Like, this one person was giving me shit about it at the store. And as soon as I mentioned I was autistic and I had Asperger's, he immediately shut the fuck up. He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I'm like, kiss my ass, dude. It's a nice little collection piece. Got a gold and silver Peter Schmidt fucking head. And then like a black. Yes. That's beside the point. Step that to the side for a second. Oh, fucking hell. We got 1 minute left. This has been a very exhausting and very long conversation about child rights and LGBTQ rights. It might have made some people uncomfortable, but this is just my opinion. You can take it or leave it. I've taken what Sydney Watson said and what I'm saying and be like, well, this is my opinion. If you don't like it, okay, there you go. That's your opinion. This is the kind of crap that gives people like Caitlyn Jenner a bad name. Because it's like, no, my only complaint about this bitchin' Cobra cane is that I can't unscrew it and pull out like a blade. Like, I've had a Cobra cane where it's like a sword attached and it broke. So, there you go. It just is what it is. I'm obsessed with cobras. One of my obsessions, to be honest. So I'm like, yes. I took a Cobra cane that had a brown cane and a silver head, and I spray painted the cane part black and the head green, and then added some like Mod Podge, the stuff that I used to make my wands shiny, and the final process to the cane part. And it's like, yeah, that's what's up.
To mention the grooming and child exploitation side of things, which
Yes, thank you. The child exploitation side of things. That is the goddamn truth. People don't look at this like you're exploiting children to mature subject content that they're not mature enough to handle. They just see it as they're pushing their progressive adult ways onto children. They don't see it as some of these children possibly are not mature enough to handle it. You wouldn't give your child a beer, but heaven forbid you give your child alcohol, but you'll shove LGBTQ rights in their face in the most appropriate / inappropriate situations, you know? You wouldn't want some grown-ass man shoving his hairy male ass into your kid's face like, oh, look at me, you know?
we can save for a whole nother video on its own. Given the negative ramifications that can come about from these sort of things, I just don't know why any parent would want to take a chance with this. Those who argue that all of this is okay often ignore the fact that we know what happens when children are exposed to hypersexualized imagery, acts, and so on. We know because it's been long documented, and I personally would argue that we're seeing the effects of this and the consequences of this playing out in society at the moment. The kids are not all right, fam. In the end,
No, most kids are not all right. This is why I've often said I feel sorry for today's kids. Because today's kids are growing up in an overly hyposexualized. Today's kids are growing up in an overly hyposexualized society where LGBTQ plus agenda is being forced down their throats, whether they're mature enough to understand it or not. And they're being forced to accept it, whether they agree with it or not. And it's like, how is this any different than forcing kids to go to church when they're like, what if I don't believe in God, kind of thing?
My hope is that more people will band together to try to preserve the innocence of children.
Now, I fully agree, Sydney Watson. Thank you. 1,000% to 1,000,000% more important than me ending my miserable fucking dry spell. Thank you. Preserving the innocence of children. My fucking point exactly. I will fucking drink to that. Because at the end of the day, that's what we should be doing, is preserving. No shitballs, almost dropped my cane. Look out. I'm serious. That's what we should be doing, to be honest, is preserving the innocence of children. Because the innocence, once it's gone, it can never be retrieved very easily, to be honest. This is, okay, this Sydney Watson video response that I made was a super long, awkward conversation about a lot of shit, so.
Because as far as I'm concerned, we have taken things way too far. Now, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder that you can download Xstar using the link in the description.
Sweet.
You can receive 25% off site-wide and get your dad something very cool for Father's Day. Now, I open the floor.
No, when I want to get my dad for Father's Day, I can't get him his Mustang. Because he already found that, like, I was going to win the lottery and be like, oh, hey, Dad, I found the Mustang you had in high school. Here's the money for it, kind of thing. But my dad beat me to it and already got, you know what I'm saying? So, like, the thing I would get my dad for Father's Day, my dad loves Red Lobster. Like, that's one of my dad's favorite restaurants. So one of the things I try to get my dad for Father's Day is a Red Lobster gift card, because he can take my stepmom Tanis out for a romantic date and get a couple bucks off. That kills two birds with one stone. My dad gets a sweet gift, and he can take his woman out for a bite to eat. It's not the best, because I would give my dad a custom-made 32 Ford 3-window coupe, if I could afford it, as anything, like I would give my mom or my dad, the people who raised me, the car of their dreams, if I could afford it. But I can't afford the car of my own dreams, so I'm kind of like, yeah, here I am on YouTube. I can't afford to build the Model T C-Cab rat rod hearse of my dreams. So I'm just like, eh.
Floor to all of you. What do you all think? Is this actually as bad as many people think it is?
Yes, Sydney Watson, it is as bad as people think it is. Like, some of the crap they're trying to push on the kids is extremely inappropriate. I'm all for teaching children to be progressive and to be tolerant of LGBTQ plus rights. But you can teach your kids to be tolerant of LGBTQ plus rights without being perverted about it.
Do you believe that children should actually be exposed to these ideas?
Yes and no. Children should not be exposed to these ideas if it's detrimental to their health. If that makes any sense. like, if you're shoving this shit into their face to a degree where it's like you take them to a gay pride parade and like you got some gay dude's ass being shoved in your kid's face. No. If you wouldn't want a pedophile flashing their dick in your kid's face, then the idea of a gay man flashing his ass in your kid's face and all of it being in the name of he's in a gay parade. Those are just how he identifies. Like, fuck off.
It's okay for them to be exposed to these ideas?
I don't think there's a problem with kids being exposed to being tolerant. However, when you get exposed to an environment that's being told you have to be super perverted to be tolerant, like, I'm sorry, but kids do not have a grasp of how the world works. It's the truth. YouTube. I'm not trying to be like anything. It's the goddamn truth. Like, fucking ridiculous. If you want to expose kids to a progressive idea that you shouldn't judge somebody just because they're gay, I'm all for it, 1000%. But if you're doing that in a way that exposes children to sexually explicit material, that's where I draw the line.
Do you think children at Pride is okay? Do you think kink is okay at Pride?
Okay, no. We've kind of already covered that crap. Do you think it's okay for children to be exposed to gay pride and pride parades? My answer is yes, as long as they're not being exposed to overly sexual material, then who cares?
What do you generally make of this issue overall?
What do I make of this issue overall? I think children should be taught acceptance. We live in a society where children are taught racism and sexism. If you think about it, a woman raising her daughter as a single mother who hates men, or a man raising his son as a man who hates women, and vice versa, it's no difference. It's no different. I think there are certain ideologies that children, if they're going to be exposed to these ideologies, then there's a kid-friendly way to do it that doesn't involve them being exposed to pornography.
As always, if you like the video, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment, free to do so. Just be respectful about it. And I will see you guys next time.
They are just...
Well, Sydney Watson, I thank y'all for making the video. And I'll definitely see you next time. No, I went to make this video on that I'm doing right now, like where like the chat's approved, and I guess the system was like, nope, we're not having it. But this is my sexy Cobra cane that I custom made. Look at that. Bitchin'. If I become an old man or I need a cane to walk, you already know, YouTube. This is the one I'm going with, the one in my collection. That's what's up. Check this out. When I stand up all the way. And you know what? Don't let the people fucking... You have a cane that you walk with now. Don't let the people fucking tell you shit. Like, look how old you are and blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. Age is only a state of mind, my dude. People talking shit are usually jealous of what you have. So, there you go. Yeah, I'm not answering that. We're going to wrap up this here live stream. Holy crap. It's already 12 o'clock. How did it get so late? Well, just a 2-hour live stream. YouTube, I need a moment to decompress from that video response, because holy shit, that was a headache and a half. No fucking hell. This is empties. Which will inspire the hashtag that I have to say, hashtag it's worth the wait. Wait till you're in college and you're a responsible adult before you have sexual intercourse. I know there's a lot of pressure at your age to be like, oh hey, all my friends are supposedly having it. Yeah, they're full of shit. You got your guy buddies who are like, oh yeah, Lindsay, I totally squeezed your titties over the summer and you're never gonna get laid, you pussy. Don't believe that shit. That's just talk that the guys and the gals talk. to make you feel insecure about shit they didn't do because they're just as insecure as you are because they can't find somebody to fuck them. And it's like, wait till you're in college, YouTube. Yes. I haven't watched that Sydney Watson video until now, to be honest. I watched like 5 minutes of it and I was like, I don't want to get into this right now. This is giving me a headache. Our society sucks. I need a beer. And I thought about it for a second. I says, let's make a video response to it. Yes. Got a little freaking cigar to puff on. Ugh, YouTube. It is 12:09 a.m. And normally I'm asleep on a Sunday by this time, but I know what's up. Ugh. Yes. My phone's being blown up right now, and I'm not going to answer it because I don't know the number. You could be a legit fan or you could be a legit piece of shit troll. So I'm not going to answer it. I'm more focused on this video right here. As I'm close to ending the video, y'all going to call and harass me? Like, fuck off. If I become an old man, if I live long enough to be an old man, and the doctor says you need a cane to walk with, what do you think I got in my hands? Oh. No, there are some people who actually need it for therapeutic / actual walking reasons, to be honest. So it's a bit insulting to walk around because you like the way it looks. And because you're goth and, oh, look at me, kind of thing. So to be honest, I'll walk around with a wand in my pocket before I walk around with this. Unless it's like snowing outside. Because this can be used to help me walk in the slippery cold weather. As I've found I've gotten older, my joints and my bones, they don't do so well in cold environments, to be honest. I found this out, like cold weather and my bones and my joints are just like, yeah, no. It's pretty sad that I'm experiencing that at 30, but it is what it is. Like, I don't let it stop me from pushing through, you know. Got my wand, stuck it in my pocket. There we go. Yes. I do appreciate y'all tuning into my live stream and watching me bullshit and rant. Showing off my Aussie knuckles. Long live the Prince of Darkness. No, but it's the fucking truth. The conversation / video response I just had was extremely uncomfortable for me, considering how society overreacts and how much I hate chimos. I'm just like, can we just stop with this bullshit and have some common sense? Anyways, YouTube, thank you for watching the video. It's your boy King Cobra, back at it with another video. I'll catch you later.